My name is Psalmist, and I am the next of kin to the King of Kings. I have a question, and my question is, what happened in our neighborhood when morality has been reduced to decay and immorality the order of the day? When boys choose to follow figures that have no father figures and girls roll with models that are worth no role models. This time we pray that there is the next time. This generation, we hope there is a next generation, as if there is another alphabet after Z, and if there is, then we hope that sanity remains. And not just the remains of the devil in our neighborhood, because most of my childhood friends used to be ballers until they died chasing some papers. And now we could have built a memorial library in their honor like a real scholar, or build a stadium in their honor like a real footballer. But where I come from, we also know some wayward ways of making dollars, but we see them as games for dollars. This is the same way. This is the same way.
In this very short poem, Soyinka tells us how racial discrimination can actually be the deciding factor at times that can make it possible for you to either progress in life or not to.
The way the telephone conversation was that it expressed both racism and donation, how racism could matter, the way racism is bad to the society.
Members of honor here present in the executive, teachers and tutors, of Buckswood School, and the students of Buckswood School. I say good morning again. Good morning, sir. We are here this morning. It's a great pleasure for us to be here this morning. We are here this morning to have fellowship with you. We are here to meet with you. We are here to let you know us. We are here to have that family meeting with you. This is a project we are carrying out, and the project is for us to go to the classroom. Let me say for us to go to secondary school, where we meet the up and coming ones, the future of tomorrow. Look at us here. We are going. We are concerned about those who are coming behind us, those who will take the baton from us. We are in a race. There's a baton. We need to hand over that baton. So it's the time we discover those ones and bring them to the fold, to discover, the talent in them, to let them know who they are. I tell you, every child is a talent, all are talents. So we put this money to one aspect of you, which is creativity, of you writing or reading. We've got this money to expose it to yourself, to open your eyes to what you don't know about yourself. At times we don't know what we are carrying. But this morning we are here because we know that there's something or some things in you to let you know those things in you. And we thank God that this week we are celebrating the icon of literature in Nigeria, in Africa, and the whole world. Our own Wole Soyinka. It will be 10 We met 1 year sold on Sunday. So this week, we are using this week to celebrate. In fact, the entire this month of July to celebrating. And so we are starting, with your school. And it's a good thing that we are starting with Buckswood. I think that will go into history. I thought we clap for them. And so this morning, we are not just reading or meeting you, but again, we are making you to see the Soyinka in you. I like the prayer. The man who prayed said, we build Nigeria by ourselves. Picture this country, Soyinka was once like you. My brother wanted to see the picture of Soyinka when he was at your age. It means, therefore, that you and you and you and you, any of you, can be the better director of tomorrow. It starts from now, right? So we are trusting God that this day we go into history. That you will say something. So people came to your school, and on that day, I discovered myself as a writer. This is our goal, this is our target. And so this morning, please open up yourself. You have 2 minutes to spend with you, and for those 2 minutes, please relax and determine to go home to live here with something beneficial, something wonderful, something memorable, something you will live long to remember. Once again, I say thank you, the coordinator, for opening your gate to us to enter, and thank you for welcoming us. I bet you will not regret of being this morning. Once again, welcome. Thank you very much. Give it up for our chairman.
Ayomide, and outside there I'll be giving a poem titled My Melody.
Titled
My Melody.
My
Melody.
Melody. My Melody. Okay.
In the silence, I hear your voice. Whispers of memories, a bittersweet choice. To love you more with every breath.
Hold on, hold on. You have to start again. Because you see, when you are performing and they are not hearing you, that's no performance. And it's not pantomime. I mean, I'm going to pantomime. This is not okay. So please put more life into it. Demonstrate. It's a performance.
Like I said, I'll be saying a poem titled My Melody. In the silence, I hear your voice. Whispers of memories, a bittersweet choice. To love you more with every breath, forever and always, my heart bleeds. Like a wound that never heals, it repeats. The pain of our friendship, the melody so sweet. Oh, my friend, you're the melody. The haunts my soul, set me free. In your eyes, my heart finds pain. But with you, I'm never the same. You're the harmony that makes me whole. But now you're gone and I'm left to unfold. Your smile ignited a burning flame, but now it's ashes and I'm to blame. With every care, our friendship grew stronger, but now you're gone and I can't move on. You're the one that moves me right, the reason why I stand upright. My best friend, my precious jewel, the diamond that shines bright in my life. The reason why I laugh and smile, my whole new world. Thank you.
Wonderful. Please, another round of applause for her. My melody. Great. The next presentation. Who is next? Okay. Why are the guys not coming out? Another round of applause for her. We know that. Ladies and
The name of my poem is Perfect.
what's your name? Your name?
My name is Abeokuta.
Okay.
Not everyone is perfect,
Not everyone is perfect.
but no one wants to accept. Why they slept, they kept, just to leave their things unkept. Meanwhile, they said they are well kept and refused to accept. They didn't expect us to inspect, so they slept. But after they wept and said, we accept, no one is perfect. And they leapt and swept and left us to check, and no one is perfect.
Please give it up to her. A round of applause for her. Why are you not clapping for her? Did you enjoy the presentation? Okay. At this juncture, I'd like to bring up our treasurer. He's a spoken poet. You know, what they've done for you is they've read poem for you. So let's see a professional in action. Ladies and gentlemen, by popular demand, our treasurer, spoken poet. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
I am actually sorry for coming late. I had an event last night, and I went to perform spoken poetry. So I came back very late this morning. Though I didn't prepare for this, but there is a poem I like to perform anytime I find myself in front of students, youth, the young ones. And it's titled Gen Z, Generation Z. But before I do that, just permit me to introduce myself by saying I am loving what I see when the mirror looks at me. Can you imagine me? I see myself as a decoder and God in me as an encoder. I see the wall of life cracking as it's getting older, but yet I stand like a beautiful portrait, portraying beauty in the eyes of the beholder. Can you imagine me? My name is Psalmist, and I am the next of kin to the king of kings. I have a question, and my question is, What happened in our neighborhood when morality has been reduced to decay and immorality the order of the day? When boys choose to follow figures that have no father figures and girls roll with models that are what no role models. This time we pray that there is the next time. This generation, we hope there is a next generation, as if there is another alphabet after Z, and if there is, then we hope that sanity remains. And not just the remains of the dead we see in our neighborhood, because most of my childhood friends used to be ballers until they died chasing some papers. And now we could have built a memorial library in their honor like a real scholar, or build a stadium in their honor like a real footballer, but where I come from, we also know some wayward ways of making dollars, but we see them as games for dollars. This is the same way. This is the same way. That a young boy rose from bed with a dream of suit and tie tied to his socks and his shorts when walking miles to school. This is the same way. That a young girl professed she wanted to become a doctor, but now what happened? Because when she failed her JAMB examination due to lack of preparation, she didn't cry when she lost her womb to abortion, she didn't cry when she lost her virginity to prostitution, she didn't cry, but when she lost her phone, then she cried. The major source of trouble walked freely out of her life, but then she was just a teenager who had come so much time in her lifetime that she can no more come to her right senses. Disintegration of this generation has been a manifestation ever since money became the sole motivations of all of our commission. Money has become the sole motivations of all of our actions and inactions. Therefore, squeeze money and throw it into the we will still clap. Can we now have a round of applause? That is the same way that the society is having a round of applause for all the boys who hit their home poops and bite in the blood of innocent people. The reason I ask you to have a round of applause is because it is not easy, because it takes courage to exchange temporary monetary gain for eternal pain. Can we have a round of applause? That is the same way society is having a round of applause for all the girls who share the odoriferous clips of their clit on the internet to keep, because in the near future, Facebook will share you the memory and you will not even be able to tell your children to rather face their boobs. Because even if they should, and they want to start for a good cause, the antagonist is right there at the corner of the boardroom saying, shut up there, you said they talk, no be your mama ask me this. You see, the young boy deserves to live a profitable life, she deserves to live a good life, but what you have just done to his and her reputation is just an assassination. This is Generation Z. Here, we call ourselves the leaders of today. We call ourselves the leaders of tomorrow, but we are not even leading ourselves today. This is Generation Z. Here, if you are not boast of two things, then you are considered not matured. It's either your breast or you sag your trousers. This is Generation Z. Here, we carry a popcorn, but we eat our bags because abnormalities are now normal. But now my question is, for everyone that is suffering from repercussion, will God ever bring upon them what they haven't already brought upon themselves? Thank you.
Amazing. Another round of applause for the summit. Great. Okay, right about now, we like to introduce the guest speaker. The guest speaker for today is a prolific writer, a great author, a philosopher, a role model. Ladies and gentlemen, so many things rolled into one. The powerhouse, MSc Okolo. Please give her a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I will be sitting down because this kind of interaction is not just about speaking. Okay, I've titled my presentation, The Writer, Writing and Society. Okay, celebrating Wole Soyinka at 91. Already, I gave out a poem. Okay, but first, let me begin by saying that the three terms I've brought together, if we look at it very well, we discover that it's very difficult to actually separate them. Where do you place the writer? Where do you place writing? And where do you place society as different items? At every move you make, you will discover that the writer will be standing in between the two. Okay, because the writer is the one writing, and the writer obviously is trying to reflect the society to us. Okay, so they are actually all mixed up. Okay, that's why I thought that the best way to do this today, we already know that Soyinka is a great writer. He must set for that done. It's just but one of his books. I can easily give you about 30 books and more that he has written. But what I'm trying to do today is just to pick a poem that I have given out, okay, so that we can use this poem to now look at what does it actually mean to be a writer? What does it mean to write, and what does it mean to reflect the society? And we are all going to be joining hands to do this together. That's why you have a copy of the poems. Okay, again, why am I choosing just one of the poems that Soyinka has written to celebrate him today? You see, poetry has a way of telling us more than any other form of writing can actually do, because of the way it expresses feeling in a communicable way. We had the melody. Okay? Now you are gone. I can't go on. Okay? No, yeah. It has a way of expressing feelings in a communicable way. Those things that ordinarily would be buried right there inside of us. Okay? But, a poem will render it in such a way that, feelings are not always the things we can communicate. It's difficult to tell people how you feel. Okay, but poetry can actually dig that deep to be able to say, this is how I feel. And again, poetry has a way of surprising us. Okay, the things you never imagined, okay, you suddenly see them happening. And of course, poetry is again the one aspect of literature that can actually use just but a word to tell you a million things. Okay, so that's why we are using Soyinka's telephone conversation today to celebrate him. I would like to invite any student. That's why I said when I gave you the poem, I said begin to read it. Okay, is there anybody who can come and then read for us telephone conversation? Because that's what I want us to use to appreciate what it means to be a writer, writing, and then society. Has anyone read it well enough to come and read it? All right, I can see a hand up. Or were you not putting your hand up? You were, okay, come on. Location indifference. All right, the landlady was the premises. Nothing remaining.
Telephone conversation. The price seemed unreasonable. Location indifference. The landlady swore she lived off premises. Nothing remained but self-consciousness. Madam, I warned. I will hate a wasted journey. I am African. Silence. Silent transmission of pressurized good breeding. Voice when it came. Lipstick coated. Long gold road. Cigarette holder peeped. Caught I was, foully. How dark. I had not misheard. Are you light or very dark? Button. Stretch of receipt breadth of public hide and speak. Red boot, red pillar box, red double head, Omnibus squelching star. It was real, shamed by ill-mannered silence, surrendered, pushed dumbfoundment to beg simplification. Considerate she was, verifying the emphasis. Are you dark or very light? Revelation came. You mean like plain or milk chocolate? Her accent was clinical, crushing it in its light impersonality. Rapidly, wavelength adjusted. I choose West African semper and as afterthoughts down in my passport. Silence for spectroscopic flight and fancy. Till truthfulness changed her accent. Hard on the mouthpiece. What's that? Condescending. Don't know what that is. Like burners. That's dark, isn't it? Not altogether. Facilely, I am brilliant. But madam, you should see the rest of me. Palm of my hand, soles of my feet are a peroxide blonde. Friction caused foolishly, madam. By sitting down, has turned, my bottom raving black. One moment, madam, sensing her receiver hearing on the thunderclap. About my ears, madam, I pleaded. Wouldn't you rather see yourself?
See for yourself.
See for yourself.
Yeah. Thank you very much. We are going to be anchoring our discussion on this. Okay? As he's reading, I hope you are already asking yourself what is going on here. Okay? What is this writer trying to tell us? Okay, about the society? Like I said, the writer stands in between writing and the society. Okay, I didn't just give the poem out to my people here. I also gave it to the people here. So I would also like to invite somebody from here to render the poem again to us so that we can then begin our discussion.
Thank you very much. Can I have your attention, please? I see that some of you are just talking. Please, let's have your attention. This poem, aptly called Telephone Conversation, was written by Professor Wole Soyinka, I think in London. And you know, this is the plight of blacks when they want to rent, when they want to get accommodation. So there is discrimination. I've given you that as a background so that you can put on, you know, your thinking cap so that you can see the poem. And when you are reading a poem, all poems are written to be performed. Okay? So when you are reading the poem, you must punctuate it, you must let it come. When you have your dialogue, you give it, your voice must show that. In broadcasting, we call it lifting it off the page. You must lift the work off the page. When you are reading news too, they give you the news, you don't just read it in a flat tone. Okay, here goes. Please look at your book. Look at your poem. The price seemed reasonable. Location, indifferent. The lady swore she lived off premises. Nothing remained but self-confession. Madam, I want. I hate a wasted journey. I am African. Silence. Silence transmission of pressurized blue breathing. Voice, when it came. Lipstick coated. Long gold road. Cigarette holder peeped. Caught I was, fouling. How dark! I had not been hurt, misheard. Are you light or very dark? But in A, stench of rancid breath of public hide and seek. Red boots, red pillar box, red double-tiered omnibus squelching star. It was real, shaped by ill-mannered silence. Surrender, pushed dumbfoundment to beg simplification. Considerate she was, very the emphasis. Are you dark or very light? Revelation came. You mean like plain or milk chocolate? Her accent was clinical, crushing in its light, in personality, rapidly wavelength adjusted. I chose West African sepia, and as an afterthought, down in my passport, silence for spectroscopic flight of fancy, till truthfulness changed her accent, hard on the mouthpiece. What's that? Conceding. Don't know what that is. Like brunette? That's dark, isn't it? Not altogether. Facially, I am brunette, but madam, you should see the rest of me. Palm of my hand, soles of my feet are a peroxide blonde. Friction caused. Foolishly, madam, by sitting down, has turned my bottom raven black. One moment, madam. Sensing a receiver rearing on the thunderclap. About my ears, madam, I pleaded. Would you rather see for yourself? Please, let's give a round of applause to WS.
And I did say that it's difficult to separate these three things because they are actually very interwoven. But at the same time, the writer tries to balance them by standing in between the two concepts. And using this poem, we can then generate for ourselves, okay, what we think should be the qualities of a good writer. I mean, we've had it read 2 times. Okay, so it can help us now to generate what we think, are the qualities of a good writer. Okay, we can then also appreciate what a writer actually does for the society. Okay, the poem began with telling us that the price seemed reasonable. Okay, the price is a telephone conversation. Let us understand that in a telephone conversation, if I'm calling you now, it means that possibly we are not like this. We are not seated facing each other, except if it's a drama we are doing. Okay? I am only calling you because I don't have access to you to speak to you face to face. That's why I'm calling you on the phone. Okay, so we must understand that this telephone conversation is taking place between 2 people who are not seeing each other at all. Okay? We are not even sure whether they've ever met in their lives. Okay? Now, the person is telling us that the price seemed reasonable to him or to her. Okay? Location indifferent. Location indifferent. You can express this in how many words? We said that one of the things about poetry is that it tries to strike at the heart of the matter. Okay? Reducing everything to its very concrete and concise form. Okay? The poet is not bothered about the location. It's like, I'm looking for a house in Abeokuta, and whether the place is in Bantoko, or is in Shomorio, or is in Ashero, I don't care. All I want is to get a place. Okay? So the poet is telling us that location is indifferent to the location, and that the price seemed reasonable, and then that the landlady swore she lived off premises. Now let's look at it. These are actually the 3 things that could cause friction, at least if you are going to look for a house. The first consideration is, can I pay for this house? Okay, now the poet is saying, I don't mind the price. Okay, that place, can I actually live in that location? The poet is saying, I don't mind the location. Okay? Now, again, the landlady swore she lived off premises. Most times, too, you don't want to live with your landlord or your landlady in the same house, because the person may be monitoring your movement too much. okay, and that can also be, an area of friction. Now, these three things that ordinarily should cause friction between a tenant and a landlord, they are all okay. So why is it now nothing remained but self-confession? The question is, why is self-confession so important? Okay, and it's telling us that it's the poet that is realizing it. So he now said, Madam, I hate a wasted journey. I am African. Okay, so that is self-confession. This is where I am from, an African man. Okay, and the moment he said this, we discovered that there's a kind of freeze in the conversation. Because ordinarily, from the beginning, everything was going on well, but the moment the poet says, I am African, there was silence. Okay? And then the silence, went into the fact that even the poet could feel it. Like I said, they are not seeing each other. But the poet could see, okay, that transmission of pressurized good breathing. Because it's like, the woman is trying to contain herself, okay, with this revelation. Voice when it came. Now, how is it that the poet is able to know that the woman was wearing lipstick? No, you see, I am pointing this out so that we can begin to appreciate the quality of a good writer. Like I said, it's a telephone conversation, and these two people are not seeing each other. And yet, you could imagine that this woman was actually wearing a lipstick, that this woman is actually smoking cigarettes, okay, and the kind of cigarettes too. Okay, this can only be done through power of high imagination. Okay, so I want you to be noting the qualities of a good writer. Okay, so now the woman didn't, you see, the conversation all along has been in small letters. Now we had this capital letter. Okay, how dark? Like, what exactly is this fellow, talking about? Possibly the way the man was speaking, she didn't quite know whether he's an African or not. Okay, but when he now identified himself, she had to find out how dark. Are you light or very dark? Okay, so that now became the entire conversation. Now we have left the price. We have left the location. We have left whether they both will share the same premises. We are only now concerned with the complexion, because it is not just about are you dark, it is about how dark. Okay, so this particular confession here, whether you're light or very dark, what does it now tell us about the society where this is happening? The poet, reading through the poem, did you see anywhere where the poet talked about racial discrimination? Is there racial discrimination mentioned in this poem? No. But the moment the poet introduced this, you will begin to understand the kind of society where this is taking place. Okay, that there's actually racial discrimination in this place. Because that's the only reason why somebody will want to find out not just whether you are dark, but the extent of the darkness. Okay, so the poet had to, in fact, ask himself, am I still in this world? He started looking around him because he was in a paid phone. He looked to see whether the buttons are still there, positioned the way they were when he entered. The B and the A, they were still there. Okay, outside, the buses were still running, and he couldn't tell himself whether he was actually hearing right or not. But then, of course, he mustered courage. And again, this is a surprising aspect. Humor comes in, even at this dark hour, at this point where he needs to save himself. What did he had to do what? Introduce humor into it, if nothing, at least to save himself. He had to ask, no, you mean like plain or milk chocolate? Okay, you see where he's now bringing it down. You are asking me whether I'm light or very dark. I'm talking about chocolate. So how do you want me to tell you the color of my skin? Is it that I look like chocolate in your place? I mean, will you accept me if I look like plain or milk chocolate? Okay, will you accept that explanation? Or will you accept the differences in my body? Because he now started telling her the palm of my hand, the sole of my feet, now telling the different aspects of him, and the fact that he has also been sitting down. Okay, so all these areas, they have different kinds of complexion. Okay, but at the same time, the landlady was not buying it. He could, even though he could not see the landlady, but he knew he was already pissing her off. Okay, because he could almost hear, okay, the receiver. The way she was going to drop, or the way she dropped the receiver eventually. Okay, and he had to plead, "Madam, won't you rather see for yourself?" Okay, now you see, the question that the poet asked at this point is possibly, the one that engages us the most. You have not seen me, because he has not seen him. Okay, and you are already judging me. Exactly on what are you basing that your judgment? Based on my complexion? Okay, what has my complexion to do with my essence? What has it to do with who I am? Okay, does it say that I am a criminal? Does it say that I am a thief? Does it say that I am an honest man? Okay, because this ideally should be what should have bothered the landlady. Whether the person you are going to get into your house is a criminal, or an armed robber, or an honest man. But you discover that these were not the considerations. So exactly what has the poet been judged on? The color of his skin. Okay, so in this very short poem, Soyinka tells us how racial discrimination can actually be the deciding factor at times that can make it possible for you to either progress in life or not to. Now, without getting the house that the poet is looking for, tell me, how is he going to focus on anything that he has come to this place to do? A homeless person is not a settled mind. Okay, supposing the person is a student like you are, can you imagine studying, reading your books, attending classes, and doing all that when you don't have any place to stay? It's going to affect you. There are no two ways about it. So, at any point in time that people are judged by the skin of their color and not by what they actually possess, what they can offer to society. Okay, you end up either helping some people to progress more and stopping some people from progressing. But most times we don't even begin to understand these things because they are not spelled out. If you get to a place where you are discriminated against, you can't make the kind of progress you would have ordinarily made if situation is normal for you. And yet, when people are, if you are going to be judged, you will be judged, alongside him. For instance, if I'm discriminating against you, I am not discriminating against you, okay? And two of you are performing the same test. You will still be judged, just the way he is being judged. Whereas he has an edge. But most times these things are silent. Okay, so this poem calls our attention to the fact that we need to understand that anytime that society is not arranged in a way, in a just manner, okay, in a fair manner, in a way that allows everybody to bring their best to the table, then it means that some people are shortchanged. And of course, without the truth of the matter is that even society, itself is also shortchanged. When everybody cannot progress normally, it is not only that individual that is shortchanged, it's also the entire society too that is shortchanged. Because we all cannot be able to, bring in our best to the table. Okay, so on this note, I will now invite our own contributions. Based on this, I want us to now, come up with the qualities you think that actually make for great writing based on what Soyinka has put here. Okay, and why you also think that he's a great writer based on this piece of work, okay, and of course how writing and society actually, all come together. We've already talked about that. So, contributions. What are the qualities of a good writer based on Soyinka's telephone conversation?
Okay, please, a round of applause for that. Yeah? Okay, let's have it. David, right? Let's have it. He can project. He's a big guy.
The telephone conversation that Wole Soyinka wrote used the use of language and tone to express his words. Like now, the theme of indifference in line 12, line 11 and 12, use the theme and use the word of indifference there. How dark are you, and how, or are you very dark? That's the theme of indifference and the use of language.
More contributions. Let's have the own reflections, then we round up.
Yes?
How I think the way the telephone conversation was that it expressed both racism and donation, how racism could matter, the way racism is bad to the society. That is why I think that Wole Soyinka's writing was okay.
I noticed in this book it talks you about how some people in the world create little things they mention it about someone's life. How they think just because you're this, you must have this quality. Like how in line 4 is line 5 it says I am African. So that must have been the reason why she thought that are you very dark or light? That must have been the source of that identity, which is actually true in our everyday life. Like people always suspect that all Africans were dark in complexion.
From our submissions, we know that the qualities of a good writer, one, of course, is the use of language, okay, and imagination, the ability to imagine. And now, to be able to imagine well, I want to, connect it to something else. Okay, it also means that we have a highly developed power of observation. Okay, by highly developed power of observation, I'm thinking and talking of active observation. Okay, active listening. There are times you can listen to someone, but you are not really listening to them. There are times you are looking at something, but you are not really observing it. Okay, active observation will mean that I am looking at this spot here. Okay, sir, the spot on your, and I'm asking myself, how come is there? I mean, like every other tithe, they really don't have it. Is it that it came with it, or is this a debt? Okay, what exactly happened here? Okay, I mean, how do we, go about it? Is it a stem we can remove or not? Okay, so I am engaging with it. I'm not just like looking at it. Okay, active listening is that when someone is speaking to you, it is not that when people are speaking to you, you are judging them. No. Because I mean, at times we all fall, into that. When somebody is speaking, you are already trying to judge the person. You are not really trying to listen to the person first. Okay, but you are listening to the person. Okay, you are also connecting to your previous experience. Okay, because anything we are reading, anything we are hearing, it's not as if we are just hearing it for the first time most times. Okay, so there is always, a background that can also help us to interpret that thing, better. Okay, so we have to bring all these things to bear when we are writing. Okay, so the power of imagination is not developed in a vacuum. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so you cannot just be that imaginative if you don't even observe actively, you don't listen to people actively, you don't read actively. Okay, so all these things must be, part of it. Okay, and then of course, a good writer is also capable of not taking himself or herself too seriously at times. You can entertain humor. Like here, this is a very serious business. I mean, this person literally is not getting the accommodation that he's looking for. So that is a serious thing for him. He's homeless. That's the truth of the matter. But he can still, try to even humor the woman and humor himself. Okay, by, trying to say things like, what is it called? Peasant blonde. He's talking about, blonde hair is like maybe a yellowish kind of, but he's saying the one that is bleached. Okay, so he's trying to, I don't want to say ridicule everything, okay, but at least he's also trying to, find a way to save himself. Okay, so that he doesn't, take the entire matter too seriously. And again, one of the qualities of a good writer is critical thinking. Okay, so we also need to develop our ability for critical thinking. Okay, so I mean, all these things will come into place when we are trying to be a good writer.
Thank you for joining us on this literary journey. If you were inspired by today's conversation, don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow book lovers, and subscribe to the channel for more authentic Nigerian voices. Got questions or a favorite quote from our guests? Drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep reading, keep writing, and keep telling your story.